Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. So this build is inspired by something I did on stream a couple of weeks ago, and it's grown somewhat from that point, but we're on a different character as well. But the basic idea at the front is based on that small thrown together little build that I did in a hurry on stream, and snowballed into this much larger sort of country home vibe. So we'll take a look at the map in just a moment, we'll see where we are. There's a couple of points in here that didn't quite pan out as expected, so I've cut out some elements of the building there, but I'll explain what I did and didn't do as and when we get there. So, let's jump in and have a look at this, shall we? See, we're just right on the northern edge of the forest here, just south of the Toxic Valley. There's a camp there. Got the Eastern Regional Penitentiary here, Grafton Dam just over to the right. And we're pretty much due north of Morgantown Airport. It's just a short jog up the hill from there. It's Grafton Station and Vault 76. So, not a bad location if you're looking for an early game, or fairly early game, place to build a camp, this. So here we are, we're just right by the road here, and we're going to use the white line at the edge of the road as a guide for the front edge of the build here. We're going 4 wide, and it'll be 2 deep, or 3 deep actually, I think, eventually. But it's sort of a stepped back edge here. So the front edge is as low to the ground as we can get. That's why I started at that top corner there. But it means that the back edge does clip through the ground a little bit, so a little bit of shaping is required to get around the corner there. And the other big thing with this is I wanted to build on a few different levels, so start here, put the second level in. This is going to eventually become our sort of sitting room, living room. Foundations in up here. I will actually change over the foundation material later on, just to make things a bit more interesting, but for now, this will do. It's a 3x3 up there. And I put this little section in here, this little alcove at the back, which actually ended up not being part of the finished room. We'll sort of see later on where I moved it, but it didn't quite work out properly, didn't quite go the way I wanted, so changes were required. This front row of walls we're putting on one set of foundations back from the front, so we can have a little veranda out front as well. Follow the edges around. And carry on up here. There we go. Nice and easy, that's the ground floor sorted, more or less. And this little ramp's going to cause a certain amount of issue later that, for the most part, we'll skip past and we'll have a look at the finished product rather than watching me faff for too long. So I knew I wanted a little outside area. One of the most common things with this particular location is you'll find you spawn in sort of a little further back behind the build. So we needed a back door. So a little veranda out here allows that for that quite well. So into our little living room here, I'm going to stick a doorway in here. And actually get in and out. There we are, actually facing towards the back of the build here. So I put a little internal wall here because I'm going to put a staircase at the back of the room, and I thought it'll probably be better if it's got its own sort of wall to hide it and close it off, but in the end I felt it was a little too enclosed and that the main room was a little too cramped, so I actually ended up taking that internal wall back out, but you can go whichever way you'd like, it still works just fine. Some floors in here. There we go. I think I've got the clearance here. Good. So this corner I'm leaving it cut off because I've got a little plan for this. We'll come back to in a moment. Back out to the back veranda, I wanted a lower level, a little room on a lower level at the back of the building here. So we use the ramp here, snap it on at the top so we can get a guide in for a half-height wall down from the main floor level. It's a nice standardised height that works well with the various building materials we have available. So it's a good way of measuring the distance between floors if you don't want an entire extra story. That's working fine, so I'll drop that back in. I'm actually going to end up raising that particular foundation piece up, but stick a couple over here. And we'll need a door. This one's going to be underneath the staircase. It's going to be eventually our little country cottage kitchen sort of room down here, and I'm quite happy with how it comes out, to be honest. Pretty cool. So I've got a staircase in, get some walls on. Nice and easy. So we're back at the front of the building now. I'm going to start putting the roofs on. With this front area, you need the floor as low as possible, because by the time you're getting the roof in, that big tree won't bulldoze, so you will find the branches clipping through if you're not careful. We've got a little bit going on there, but it's not too pronounced. We need a flat roof here, otherwise we're not getting up that ramp. There we go. I could ignore that angled roof over there, that's coming out very soon. I actually had my first experience with these angled wall pieces that connect to the roof not snapping in, saying they were floating when they weren't during the course of this build, but it was easily overcome, fortunately. But first time I've actually run into that personally. Hopefully that'll be getting fixed in a new patch. Fingers crossed. So get the walls on up top. There we go. You can see here, this is where we're going to have a little adjustment in a moment. But first, I was interrupted.
Stop. Target acquired. They say that vaults give out a lot of awards. Which one did you get? Most likely to bore me to death. Rest in peace.
Charming. An experiment by the high school kids at Watoga, that one. So, get the last of this roof on, back on the bedroom here. Here for these corner roofs if they want to play ball. So, my original plan here was to have this sort of alcove in front of us here as a stairwell going up to an upper level balcony. But for various reasons I ended up changing that. You can see the staircase that ended up not being in the final version there. We'll get this closed off for now. It's going to be the back wall of the room anyway. Unfortunately, because we've got a staircase here, I can no longer put a wall over this top edge. Some weird change in a patch not so long ago. Not sure why they went and did that, but what we're going to do, pull this section of floor out, snap another staircase in so that this upper floor is supported, and now we can actually remove that one, which will allow us to put the wall in. It'll have to be the other way around, but I can live with having a nice accent wall on this one. There we go. And I'll change that one in just a moment. Get a bit of a glimpse of what I've done there. Swap that over. For some reason you can't do it the other way, but it works there. So floor piece back in, and there we go. So in this corner here, what I've done is I wanted a sloped roof over the room and then a window up there to let a little bit of extra light in over the top of the doorway. See here. So I ended up having to actually put a floor in and then the doorway at the top of the ramp in order to get that roof to go in. Floor came out okay afterwards, which was good. And then we snapped the angled wall piece on and then the roof. That does then mean that I can't turn this wall around without putting another floor back in, so that's why we're pulling the wall off, putting a floor in, turning the wall around, and the roof can go back again, eventually. There we go. So we've got a little high-up window there for a little bit of character, a little bit of a different shape. So we're back down in what will eventually be our kitchen at the back here. I get a roof on this. And this alcove here, again, didn't really work out. So I ended up just going with a basic square, which we'll see in a moment. My original plan with this upper level balcony was that it was going to run around on the level of the roof. Like 2 stories up there. But it didn't look right in the end, and it turned out to be a total nightmare to try and get it in. And the closest I could manage with the staircase then didn't allow me to have a roof in this corner, so the whole idea got scrapped so that I could actually have a proper roof over the top of my kitchen without it looking silly. However, you can sort of see at the top there where that was going to be. Close off the wall here a little bit. And this is my eventual solution, was to come up the staircase here. As you can see, it's very, very high, and placing walls and roofs has been kind of a nightmare, really. So I ended up scrapping the idea. The final nail in this particular idea's coffin, obviously, was that I was standing behind the build, looking at the lower balcony, and the upper balcony that forms the roof of the lower one was just so high it didn't feel right at all. It just felt out of proportion and not sufficiently enclosed. So I ended up dropping it down a floor. We'll come back to that in just a moment. We'll close up the last couple of gaps here. Apologies for the slightly funny colour, by the way. You can see I got a little too immersed in what I was doing and it went very, very dark, so I've had to brighten that up a little bit in post. It's the slightly wobbly colours. Still, as long as you can see it, that's the main thing. So for the last part of the build, we are out front here. This is the last bit, the very first bit of the floor we put in, and the last bit we're going to finish off. Snapping on a wall there so we can have a roof over our front veranda. I'm actually going to change these sort of conical roofs out for flat ones because they just look a little better in my opinion. But for the moment they're functional. I do, however, want some posts to support them, so we're going to stick a staircase in, snap a floor to it, and then set a couple of half-width floors on there at a little offset. See, so sticking out a bit further than one would expect them to, which allows you to then snap the floors, the post rather, into the corners of the foundations. Like this. So otherwise they'll snap part way along the edge. Which doesn't always bother me, but in this case it wouldn't have looked right, so. Here we can snap it at the corner of the foundation rather than the middle. Though you have to actually look at the piece you want to snap it to there, so. There we go, it snaps in the middle of the floor above, therefore being on the corner of the floor below. I'll pull all that out. Oh, bunny hopping, because delete and jumper on the same key in extremely helpful fashion. And then we'll stick the couple of roofs back on. There we go. Get a little railing on here. Unfortunately, this is the one place that particular railing won't snap. So I'm going to switch that over and go for the other style, which will play ball. There we go. Now we just need some doors and decorations. Yeah, and need to fill this hole up as well. So we'll stick the flat roof back on up here. And we'll pull that wall on the right out as well. As I say, you see that little alcove just here that I will need to close up in a bit. Because the lower balcony didn't look right, and you can see there that the roof over that lower wall, that lower alcove rather, is sticking through and it doesn't look very good. So pull that out, move the whole thing forward, and we've got a longer balcony. It makes the main living room look better. And the general result is much more satisfactory, as you will see in the tour in just a moment. Even my first attempt with a flat roof here, it didn't look right, plus it flickers, which was kind of annoying. However, finished product. I did briefly toy with the idea of doing a bit of mixed materials on this, or a bit more of mixed materials, but in the end I settled on keeping it with the brick, because I quite like how it looks. Wouldn't mind a few more options of roofs, though. I've got a little 4th of July edition flag there, that's from the Atomic Shop. Some heavy laser turrets on the roof. Nice comfortable little veranda out front. I think the decoration pretty much makes this. It really takes it from feeling very cold and bare to much more homely. Little porter cabin, it's a bit of an afterthought on the end there, but works. See, we've got a water purifier tucked around the back as well. For this particular build, I didn't actually put the player vending in, because I'm not really playing this character, apart from when I'm doing the builds, so it's not at the moment anyway. So it didn't really seem worth including them. And anywhere I would have added them would have just kind of broken up the vibe of the build, so. You could, of course, put them out here or on the other balconies or anywhere you like, really, but I decided not for this one. Have a look around the inside. Got the Wild Appalachia Quest posters there. Our little workshop in this front section. For the original build I did on stream, this front section was basically the entire build. But the rest of it has been added. Here we go, the main living room. Got a little sitting area over here. Gone for the light laminate for this one. Not really my personal taste, but I thought I'd try something a little different. It creates a nice light and airy look, if nothing else. Down to, I think, my favourite room. Our little kitchen. Something about the way the pictures hang on opposite walls, and using a couple of the cabinets there as work surfaces, and the rustic table. Creates a really nice kind of country kitchen vibe. And going down the stairs just gives it that little bit of extra character as well. As you see, we've got a little desk area over here as well. Having 3 windows, having an odd number of windows specifically, always looks better than having an even number, which is one more reason I was glad to take that alcove out. Little sitting area on the back patio here. As I say, we've got the patio here clipping into the ground, the foundations there, specifically because you tend to spawn in this little back edge. As you can see, with the roof there a little bit lower, the balcony just one floor up, it creates a much more complete vibe than it did before. I should say that little windmill generator tower there is just balanced on a single wooden foundation. I think it was Wasteland Overkin that I saw that on first, one of her videos, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I'm going to head back out here and get a better look at it from our little party balcony, which I really like how this turned out. Yeah, the funny thing with putting that windmill on the foundation is it doesn't really go straight on into a single foundation. It'll fit, but it doesn't like to cooperate. So the ideal way of doing it is to put the foundation that you actually want it to sit on in place and then put 4 more, one on each side. So you've kind of got a little plus. Then you can position your windmill on the top and take off the extra peripheral foundations and then attach any fences or anything else you'd like. So, little tip there for you. I really like how that accent wall looks in the bedroom there. It's quite cool. Also got the obligatory potted plants there as well. Quite happy to finally remember to use the globe that I picked up in the atomic shop as well. I've had that for a while and I keep forgetting it's there. It's strange really, because I quite like globes. So we'll take a swing around outside again and switch over to the night time and take a look at this place in the evening, because it does look quite good. Door's a little uncooperative without the HUD on, but there we go. I should say this build is right on the limit of the build budget. If you took the turrets out, you'd have considerably more room. I've got 3 laser turrets up there, just in case. Occasionally get a bit of trouble from super mutants coming down from the penitentiary, so it is kind of handy to have that. But if you took those out, you would have a little bit more room for decoration, I suppose. So, little nighttime tour. Friendly light glowing through the windows there. I've actually used a lot more electric lighting in this particular build than I usually do. One of the major reasons for that is the spaces just feel a bit larger, and the lanterns and the oil lamps just don't illuminate it as well as I'd like. So electric lighting it had to be. It's still a little on the cold side for sort of looking homely, but it does work. At least you can see what you're looking at when you're walking around. Nice little forest view there. That's sort of towards Morgantown Airport there, it's the south edge. Quick shufty around the inside again. This little workshop area is reasonably Spartan looking, but I wanted to keep it that way because obviously, you know, sparks and the like, you don't want the place burning down. Though the flag's probably a little risky. The globe puts out a lot more light than I thought it would, to be honest, which is quite cool. I didn't put any lights on the ceiling here because they're a little bit lower, so I went with the lamps rather than full-blown lights. It'd be a little overbearing in there. But in here, with the ceiling being considerably higher, having a brighter light's definitely the way to go. Coming back to this, I'm really pleased with just how well this little room turned out. It's dead simple, nothing overdone, but it just works. To use that much maligned phrase. Could do with a few more posters on the wall, I think, really, but I'd have to sacrifice turrets or something else for that, so we can't have everything. I know a lot of people would like to see a larger build budget. Interesting to see if they do that in future. I think they'll be very cautious about it if they do. Yeah, as I said, with lowering this balcony down 1 level so that it's on the same level as the upper floor, it makes it a lot more homely feeling. The proportions just feel much more spot on, whereas it just felt far too high up and effectively like the upper level wasn't there when you were on the lower level. It definitely needed to come down, and the whole build just looks better for it, which is a reason to do it if no other. Fortunately, the neon coming through the back a little bit there of the wall. I do like these Vault-Tec canopies as well, they're pretty cool. I had my eye on them for quite a while, didn't really have a use for them, so finally found one. I did need a little bit of work to get them, this large one here, to position in. Went in okay, but sitting it right up against the edge was a little fiddly, just because it's such a large object. Unfortunately, nothing on the shelves there to sort of stock the bar with, but it is what it is. Sadly, we can't deal with that yet. Hopefully we'll get something along those lines in future. So, I do hope you enjoyed that. I'm pretty pleased with this build. Wasn't sure how it was going to go initially, but it's come out quite well, I think. If you did like it, please do hit those buttons for me. It's always very, very much appreciated. And if you'd like to support the channel a little more directly, then please do consider hitting that join button and becoming a channel member as well. The support is hugely appreciated. Social media links as usual down in the description as well if you want to catch up with me over there. And if you haven't already, do stop by and see one of the streams as well. We're having a lot of fun. Should be jumping back into the game this evening, so hope you'll come and join us. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.